All right, y'all. I had to jump on here for a quick update video. It looks like there is a press conference in Arlington, Virginia, as you see here. The uh, Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth. Um, they were given a press conference pretty early. I was pretty shocked. I did a video for YouTube talking about the bombing of the Iranian school because I shared a video yesterday, and so many people have been following these MAGA influencers and what their excuses that they're trying to say for one of the most horrific war crimes our American government has committed, our American military, and this is not how we operate. Um, Usually, this is not how our military is set up. We are set up to actually protect civilians and not do these things. Anyways, you can see here, Mr. Pete here was saying there's only one party in this conflict that targets civilians, and it is not us. And that is an out and out lie. Because when you look at the video that Iran had released, showing the actual Tomahawk missile going down. It is a residential area. It is not a military compound. It was a residential area. And also on the same video, if you're subscribed to my channel, you can go watch it. I'm not going to go through all of it. But there's pretty much 6-7 days of updates about all the stupid lies and propaganda they were trying to spew at us around the situation. We would keep getting more information and more information. And once you see all this new truth and new information come out, the lies are being subdued, and it's absolutely, absolutely crazy. But we are targeting civilians. I believe Al Jazeera, I forget how the exact amount, but there's over 1,000 civilians that have been killed. Civilians. These are not military people. Civilians. Of course, you know about the 165 children that were bombed and killed. And don't get me wrong, yes, this is war. It's one of those things, but our military, if you watch the video from that post that I did yesterday, you will see this Green Beret. He worked in special forces in Iraq. Say this is not how, because he was special forces. This is who they send out before they do a huge airstrike to make sure there are no innocent civilians in the area. They did not do this. They just straight bombed it. So trying to say that they have bad intel, that also is an out and out lie. We have the best intel in the world. I can't say that about our U.S. government. Us and Israel have the best intel. So trying to say that it was bad intel and it was just a mistake, no. This is absurd. Our military is constructed in a way we don't make mistakes. We are, up to this point, we've been so just high tier, and it's crazy. So when you look at things like this, and you look at it with a clear perspective without having a propaganda or, you just love Trump or completely hate Trump, staying right in the middle, being constructive, being discerning, and what they're actually telling us is not adding up at all. But let's go to another screenshot here that I shared. Here's another one. Defense Secretary saying that today will be the highest volume of strikes yet, and we will stop at nothing. So this was a statement just a few minutes ago, streaming live from Arlington, Virginia. So obviously it's going to be a real crazy day. There is so much bombing going on. So much bombing going on. It should be an interesting day. I highly recommend you tune into something that's not overly controlled like our media here in the United States. This is why I watch Al Jazeera, because I would just want to see the truth, and I know anything that they air has actually been confirmed by them. They will show both sides of the war or the conflict and discuss it. So this is why I watch Al Jazeera. Anyways, it should be interesting. I just saw Israeli army. I'm seeing it online. Says its defense is on high alert right now because they've detected several missiles trying to come through right now at this very moment. And I don't know what time it is. And it's not 8 o'clock in the morning over there. It's like at least the afternoon or almost evening over there. So it is the 14th day. Our department has says this will be one of the highest days of our retaliation against Iran. Pete Hegseth also this morning. I didn't take a screenshot of it. But he's trying to say, the world doesn't need to be worried about what's going on in the Strait of Hormuz. If you remember, Trump mentioned about helping some of these oil tankers and ships, freight ships, escorting them through the Strait of Hormuz. So there wouldn't be any Iranian missiles maybe attacking them, and we could help protect these oil ships or oil tankers, by air, blocking any missiles. And then if they ever wanted to attack them, right there on the spot, we could have, military, ships on the side of them to protect them. And just as soon as this was mentioned, you had at least 2 episodes where there were oil tankers like literally ablaze right there off of the Strait of Hormuz. Maybe not even right in the middle. If you watch Canadian Prepper, he talks about it's only like 30 miles and 30 kilometers between that distance of the Strait of Hormuz. So it's not that big at all. But you have it expands and goes wider as it goes out either direction. So this tanker wasn't actually in that, a small little area, 30 miles or 30 kilometers. It was on down a little bit, but still very, very explosive. And a lot of people are maybe blaming Trump, like maybe he shouldn't have said anything. Because, and Pete Hegseth is saying the world doesn't need to worry about it. The world is being affected by it. I saw someone post here in Oklahoma about $14. At one place, I know my voice. But I'm done being quiet. I'm done trying to be silenced by the enemy. And so I'm going to go through this and share and, talk about it because I believe it's pretty important. This war is affecting the entire world. It's affecting all of your big countries, whether they want to admit it or not. Russia's doing really, really good with their oil exports now. It's because they have shut off the Strait of Hormuz. They have shut off some of the biggest countries in the Middle East that distribute this oil. So even though we're getting our reserves and President Trump has promised that they will not raise the gas, something about an agreement with OPEC to keep the gas prices at a certain level. And we're using our reserves, I guess, right now. So it's actually kind of crazy. We're pretty good here in Fairview, Oklahoma. But I've heard and I've seen posts of like $14 a gallon in Missouri, and then there was $10 or $12. I saw one place here in Oklahoma, so I'm not sure. But yeah, now they're airing that Iran is under attack. Israel is carrying out wide scale wave of strikes, which is what Pete Hegseth said here would happen. But Israel did get missiles this morning or today. And now Israel is retaliating against Iran for all of those missiles. So I'm sure it's going to be just a heated day with a lot of missiles and a lot of destruction. So we'll see what happens. It looks to be a very interesting day. It's almost a Sabbath. So I'm still going to be mindful of what's going on. But I'm also going to keep going with my day. We have a big spread. I'm having roasted chicken. I wanted a whole roasted chicken for a few weeks, and we just haven't been able to do that. So we're trying to get back in track. Haven't had homemade bread, and I better eat as much homemade bread as I want right now because Passover is coming up. And we're going to be eating unleavened bread, just like Jesus did with his disciples, and observe that Holy Week. But yeah, it's getting crazy. It says Israel air raids target residential neighborhoods in Beirut as attacks continue across Lebanon. Lebanon, this is something else you're not hearing about in mainstream media. Lebanon says more than 680 people have been killed in fighting this month so far. More than 822,000 people have been displaced in Lebanon in fighting between Hezbollah and the Israeli army. But those are some current updates. Very heated exchanges happening between Israel and Iran. And as far as Pete Hegseth said, that we will be involved with it very heavily also. So we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens with the Strait of Hormuz, and it's not just Israel, Lebanon, and Iran, but a lot of these Gulf countries are getting a lot of bombing done to them, and that's really disrupting a lot of these countries who had nothing to do with this, who actually, may actually be an ally of the U.S., but really showed no retaliation against Iran, and they're all Muslims, so, it makes sense. But, a lot of these countries are being bombed. A lot of people don't know whether it's actually Iran or that it's actually Israel creating a false flag, creating this contention between these Muslim countries. So you look at everything kind of with a grain of salt and be like, okay, well, we'll see. But Iran straight stated that any American base in the Middle East is a legitimate target. And so that's why they're bombing the bases. But that's not it. Their infrastructure is being bombed. Big airports, big, like I said, military bases, oil refineries. Those are the ones you saw, that big, huge, like apocalyptic explosions. I shared the video on X on my YouTube last night. Very huge explosions. I mean, very apocalyptic. It's absolutely, absolutely crazy. Um, anyways, I thought I'd let you guys know an update if you haven't been keeping track of this. Hex has said we know the so called not so supreme leader is wounded and likely disfigured. President Donald Trump tells American media the U.S. will hit Iran very hard over the next week. So, supposedly, the sun has been hit, as far as Pete Hex says. When they said they got the Ayatollah, a lot of people weren't for sure whether to believe, but it actually came true. So, Pete Hex says it's probably telling the truth for this matter. But you have like 7 or 8 people that they have in line. He not only has one son, he has another son also that could be a legitimate leader for Iran now. But these sons are way different than the daddy. A lot of people don't know this about the Ayatollah, but he was very, very passive. Very passive. You know, the country and the IRGC would, want him to do this and do that. And he's like, no, we're not going to have anything to do with it. But sons are a different story, and they've seen their dad being bombed and pretty much burned alive, and their mother. And I believe there was a granddaughter that was killed in the same strike. So you can imagine the mentality of what these sons are in. And now you're in control of this country, very huge country, and you're being attacked by 2 of the biggest superpowers in the world. So it's heated on both sides. So we will see what happens. I may try to do another update if there's too much that goes on. I'll try to get some screenshots, try to screen that in. I still got work to do today. We got to get the house ready for the Sabbath. Got a big, big meal planned for today, but if I don't do it before the Sabbath tonight, we'll do another update sometime tomorrow. But I think this is very, very important. I believe this war is affecting, and we can see it around the world. It's affecting everybody with gas and oil. Oil does so many things. It's not just filling up your gas tank. There's certain farming things that are actually made from oil. It's widespread, and it's huge, and it looks like it just keeps heating up and getting worse and worse and worse. So I'm not going to believe the narrative. I'm not going to believe what mainstream and people like Fox are trying to tell us what's really going on. I'm going to go to the truth and actually see for it myself what's going on. So we'll see what happens today. Should be an interesting day. But it's still going to be an interesting day because God is still in control and He's allowing all of this to happen. So, come Lord Jesus. He warned us in Matthew 24. He did not leave anything out. So, we are aware, we pay attention, and we make sure we get the truth of the matter, but we do not let it control our day. But this is absolutely crazy, and it's really, really disappointing seeing the way your very high respected Republican president is doing and what he's actually intently lying about, and seeing our Department of Defense say things that they're not even making any sense. In this press conference, Hegseth was saying they were shooting off 1,000 missiles a day. And then the general, our chief of operations. I don't know what they call him. Dan Kane. He was in the same press conference saying they were firing off 6,000 targets at targets every day. So it's like, okay, 1,000 or 6,000, and this is what the Al Jazeera reporter in Washington D.C. was actually commenting about it. Like, it's very strange. Um, it must be a show they're putting on to show Iran, like, hey, we can do this many miles and that many miles, and it's not a big deal. And just seeing an update, U.S. allows sale of Russian oil. They allowed a vessel to actually go through the area. So, yeah, we are needing Russia now. So, absolutely crazy. Makes me wonder if Putin is sitting over there being like, how do you like me now? The only country who has a high amount of oil that's ready to be sold and used is one of the only countries is Russia right now. So, absolutely, absolutely crazy. You have to laugh at everything. You have to look at everything and just be like, okay, this is the world we live in. But hey, you know, I'm still a child of God, and I'm still going to live my life and live a good life, but I'm going to pay attention to what's going on. I'm not going to be led astray and lied to about what's really going on. I'm gonna pay attention and be aware. So I just thought I'd let you guys be aware. So absolutely crazy. Looks like they bombed areas near Nazareth. So crazy. Anyways, all this killing, you really just have to Jesus, Jesus, Jesus. And I never think, I don't care what kind of race that child is, to leave the children alone. Leave the innocent women alone. You men want to fight, fight, but targeting these civilians, these women and children, is evil. Pure and adulterated evil. So I don't care who's doing it, even if it's in my own government, it's still evil. And my hands are clean by exposing this truth. And so, yeah, I'm good. So I'm going to get off of here. A lot to do. Much blessings of peace. And until next time, remember, like we always do, to praise God always.